Welcome to Origin Story, where we discuss the lives and careers of underrepresented groups in professional fields. Today, we have Adrian Pinon with us, a social media marketing professional, content creator, and most importantly, first generation college graduate. And Adrian and I know we've been going back and forth for quite some time. So thank you for making the time. And I'm glad we actually found time to connect during your busy schedule. Maybe just to kick things off right away, um, and in your own words, I think this kind of adds a lot of weight to your story. What was it like growing up, maybe within your household, within, the beginning stages of your adolescence?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much, Adam, for having me. I'm a huge fan of Origin Story, and yeah, I'm just super grateful to be here. As far as my upbringing, I'm the middle child of four siblings. The two older ones are twins, so I've always had to like wrestle and fight my way to get some sort of attention from my folks. So uh, anybody that's a middle child can relate to that struggle. But on top of that, definitely grew up tough. We didn't really have a whole lot of financial resources. We moved a lot. Being first gen means that your family isn't the most educated or deeply rooted into like what the education system is and how to navigate it. So just a lot of like trailblazing and experimenting, and but yeah, if it weren't for them or my experiences, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm really grateful for all the trials and tribulations I've gone through so far.
Love that. And I love that you kind of take those as learning experiences and something that's kind of bolstered where you're at right now and maybe where you're going. Um, and we, I think, talked a bit about uh, making it through school and life, kind of given your family situation. Could you break some of that down for us?
Yeah, so family situation, definitely tough. Uh, Grew up in a Spanish speaking household, so I was spoke Spanish at home, English in the classroom, and um, it was really tough because then you get like I was targeted as like this like English as a second language, but it kind of I kind of grew up with English. I don't know, it's kind of a weird situation, but
Right.
um, just always having to prove myself. Like even in sports, I was just never considered fast enough or tall enough or big enough to play um, any sport. But I proved a lot of folks wrong, and that's just kind of been a little bit of like my education and upbringing with my folks. Yeah, it was definitely tough. We're gonna get real vulnerable here, but
That's what
there's
we want. Yeah.
a little bit of like domestic violence growing up, and
Um,
it was just really tough, really tough. But one thing that my family did hold true and never really swayed from was our faith. And every Sunday we'd go to church, and um, I kind of carried that through to my adult years now. Is like I try to go to church, I try to read the Bible, and really my faith has not only just made me a better person, in my opinion, I feel like, but also just helped me get through a lot of hard stuff, and uh, it helps me become like a better person in general. Like I want to achieve greater goals, not just for myself or my community, but also for God, and uh, that really helps me get through the day.
I love that and how that's carried you through things too. And also kind of as you were going through high school and experiencing all those things, like while you were on your way to college, like were there challenges you went through that? Did you kind of always know that you wanted to go to college, or were you kind of like experimenting as many kids in high school do with like what you want to do next with your life? It's always a bit of a question mark for everybody, but there's some people really kind of have their mind set in a specific path.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think a lot of professionals and veterans today still don't know like what they want to do, and they're like in their late 50s, 60s. Like we never really find ourselves, I think. But I didn't know what honestly, I didn't know what college was until I was a junior in high school, and that was only because I played football, and I really loved football, and I was at a friend's house, and I saw this team playing. It was LSU versus Alabama, and I was like, oh, like they look kind of small to be professionals, and they're like, oh no, they're like that's college. Like they're playing college football, and I was like, college is like, yeah, this is what happens when after your high school. I was mind blown. I was like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
Man, like that following Monday, like I went to my counselor's office, and shout out to Ms. Gunning. She changed my life. Ms. Gunning, she set me in the right path, and she said, Adrian, you got to take your classes serious. Like you're like a C-minus student right now. Like you're barely going to graduate high school. And like because of her, like I really pivoted and got my grades up, and was fortunate enough to get accepted into a really cool university. And um, I teared, like I started crying when I got the acceptance letter, because
Mm.
I was like, holy crap! Like I was able to shift this, like, oh, I can't go to college. Oh, I can't afford it. Like I was able to shift those perceptions and just open up new opportunities for me. And um, being first gen, like sometimes that isn't celebrated enough. And when I
Right.
took my acceptance letter to my parents, they were like, oh, we don't know what this means, but I think we're happy for you. So, um, but they were happy. Like they want me to live a better life than they lived. And
Right.
the fact that I'm trailblazing so far past their expectations is definitely made them proud.
And you've been on the news as well, and maybe we'll get into that later on in the conversation.
Yeah, on the news for good things, not bad things.
Right. I love that. And yeah, I think I can also relate on that level too. I've talked here and here there about my background, but I also kind of struggled through middle school, high school. I had a father that had some mental issues, and there's also low income factoring into that. But yeah, I had a teacher, Mr. Stockus, and he like actually found me in uh, detention in like sixth or seventh grade. And he was like, high school's coming up, you better clean up your act because the world's not going to wait for you. And it was a bit of tough love, but it really like got me where I was going, and eventually ended up being in his class in high school. And although, I mean, I personally disagree with this approach of taking kids away from the mainstream class schedule, sticking them in a room together, and just being like, okay, well, we don't think these kids are going to graduate, just because of whatever family backgrounds they have, and I think that ends up being, a disservice to a lot of kids who might have promise, but they haven't been granted a certain family background. But they still stuck it out with me. And ultimately, for somebody like you're the driver, and you had your mindset on what you wanted to do. And I think that reigns true as well. Is there has to be some ambition there, but it seems to be empowered by the teachers who added to that influence and help fuel that ambition. And I even remember my teacher, Mr. Powell, like giving me a couple things like before I left for graduation. And he's like, wow, you made it through. Like nobody else in this program is going to be going to college, and that meant the world to me. So absolutely can relate on that level. And also congratulations, Adrian, like on how far you made it so far.
Yeah, thanks so much. It only takes one person to change the course of our lives. And just because you see somebody in detention or in trouble, like don't give up on them. Like maybe all they need is just a talk, and that could be like just shift their whole trajectory in life. And here
Right.
we are today, like two products of detention, and
Yep.
But yeah, that's great.
It's the Breakfast Club all over again. um, but yeah, on that note as well. So like after you got the acceptance letter, um, this goes through, I feel like a lot of first generation people's minds. Was there thoughts in your head as to like, how am I going to like if I got accepted, like how am I going to afford this? Like, was there scholarships, were there grants, were there other things that came into play and kind of bridging the gap for the things financially? And also maybe also navigating the financial aid process. That's something that doesn't get as talked about as much either.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it needs to be talked about, and uh, man, yeah. Um, First gen, I didn't know financial aid. I didn't know what a federal grant, what a Pell Grant. I didn't know what a California grant was. I didn't know what a scholarship was. All I know is that a college accepted me, and that there was like this like amount that was money, and I, I didn't know. I was like naive. I didn't know what I didn't know, and uh, when I was there at the university that I was at, it was amazing for the first semester. Um, and I thought I had it all figured out. I thought everything was getting paid. I was doing great in my classes. And then I got a letter that brought me back to reality that said, like, oh, you owe like it's $5,300. I was like I didn't comprehend what that meant. Like, why do I have to pay this? I thought I was all good.
Mhm.
Uh, so then yeah, it was a crazy, crazy time in my life. I had to come back home. Then I went to a community college out in Gilroy, California. And then I went back to Sacramento City College, and where I really started to understand the education system, understand what classes, what general ed, and
Right.
just elective classes, all that stuff. And then once I figured it all out, then I transferred to Sacramento State University, and I was really on top of my game. And for the last 2 years that I was at Sac State, I was on the dean's list, back to back to back to back. So
Congratulations.
thank you. But it wasn't that easy. Like I had to all that after all that trial and error. Um, but I had to surround myself with like-minded people. Like I had to make friends with students or teachers and even the staff. Like
Sure.
um, everybody on campus. Like I needed to graduate, not just for my family, but for myself. And it took a very long time to graduate, but man, like it was tough. And I wish I knew about the financial aspect and
Right.
more like the classwork aspect of college.
Yeah, and that's also something that there's the financial aspect, and there's um, a lot of talk right now about student loan forgiveness and that coming through the affordability of college itself, and seeing like does somebody's ability to pay for college, should that make a difference in what they actually are able to achieve, in their career? How do we consider um, resumes as well? Like there's a non-traditional college path. I went to community college for a little bit, and it was just mostly due to financial constraints, and then I ended up sticking it out for a 4-year degree after that. So you know um, should that omit consideration, just because it wasn't like a straight shot? No, I don't think it should. There's just uh this kind of expectation that there's going to be a railroad track, and especially with resumes, which essentially are marketing document anyway, and that's rarely the case. So it's almost like when you see a resume that looks like a railroad track, like is not real necessarily. So
Yeah, it's a wild journey, and but congratulations to you too. Yeah, I guess we also have that in common: community college and transferring to university. It's good.
yeah. And so with that in mind, there's that to navigate, and there's also the aspect of while you're making it through class, like um, when you actually move to looking for a job itself and you're actually graduated, that was something that proved to be difficult for you as well, as I understand it. And the market's been so up and down, especially since the pandemic has come into play.
Mhm.
And that's something that we have to consider too. So like how did that kind of start out, if you don't mind me asking? And like how did it get to the level of, kind of taking the path of self-promotion that you did, which by the way is incredible. The kind of attention you garnered from that, which means, you're a social media marketing expert. Um,
Thanks. Yeah.
and how did it kind of get there?
Yeah. So for a little bit of context, for viewers, I did a crazy marketing campaign to try to get a job, and I basically went in front of like all the tech headquarters here in Silicon Valley, and I shared my story on Nextdoor, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok, just to try to land a job. And luckily, I went viral on a few of those platforms, and was featured on several television stations, featured on a lot of podcasts. And now I'm featured on Origin Story, which is amazing and a blessing. And basically, that uh, the idea came to me when I was still in community college, and with all my heart, I wanted to work in tech. And one night, I got a vision, and God told me like, hey, Adrian, like you're gonna have to hold a sign in front of like Facebook, in front of LinkedIn, in front of like all these tech headquarters, and share your story and prove to these people that you not only know how to create compelling content, but also you know how to write the content and create cool hashtags and just really go viral on several platforms. And then 2 years came by, a couple months before my graduation at Sac State. I decided to just go for it. I took the drive to all these headquarters. I took pictures, and there was a few people that were looking at me kind of funny as they were walking into the office, but you know, it is what it is. Just different upbringings, um, different levels of ambition, I guess. But it was really empowering, and um, it just I wanted to prove to the world that I'm gonna do my darnest to market and advertise an unemployed first gen college graduate. And I bet I can get him a job. And that person was me. So did my darnest, and thank God I'm employed now. Yeah.
Wow. And so when you had those conversations, like what kind of feedback did people have? Like how did people receive it? Like what were your conversations like? It seems like you got approached in all sorts of different ways, from the attention that you garnered, and there was signs. Like what other methods did you maybe use to garner that attention?
Oh man, everything. I heard it all. So, but I mostly want to put the spotlight on positive people. Definitely you, Adam. You're definitely there by my side, even from the beginning, and that really helped motivate me. But also, there's just too many people to thank, and um, I'm just so grateful for everybody that's been so positive in my journey, even after I got a job. Like, just still being around, and it's really humbling. And um, there was a little bit of pushback. Some folks did say that what I did was foolish, that I should be blacklisted,
Mm.
that I should be ashamed of myself, that it's not 1970 anymore, that nobody holds billboards.
Oh, that's fierce.
It's I heard it all, but honestly, like, I took a lot of marketing classes, and when there's backlash, when there's something provocative, like it literally just adds wood to the fire. Like
Sure.
algorithms love that stuff. When there's like a really like debatable topic, like honestly, as much as I love the good and the empowering and helpful stuff, like it's all about shifting the mindsets of people that do think like that. That, oh, what you did was wrong, when in reality, like, what option did I have? Like, I was
Right.
being denied from hundreds of job applications and interviews, and like I needed to do something to stand out, but also show my creativity and my passion for my career. And um, a lot of people that were commenting negative things, I reached out to them and sent a message directly, and just try to help understand where they're coming from. And um, hopefully, I was able to shift at least one person's mindset about just the crazy marketing style that I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that. And then um at what point, during that, did you start to get approached by like TV networks and news channels and things like that?
Yeah. Well, I actually, I actually did most of the outreach. A few of them did reach out to me, but I wanted to continue building on the fire that I had. So I wrote a lot of emails, called a lot of news stations. Um, yeah, just let them know, like, hey, I sent them links of my content, and anytime I was featured somewhere, or like somebody was talking about me, like I sent those links as well, just to entice them even more.
Right.
And, and it worked. And many of them did not hit me up. No hard feelings. I know they were super busy too, but a lot of them did, and they did share my story. And man, like it was really, really awesome. And anytime that I was featured, they sent me a link. I would share it to my parents, and just let them know that I'm doing something good, that I'm not, in trouble anymore.
Right. That's great. And then as you were being interviewed on TV and you had, all this other kind of attention happening around you, and it sounds like it was a lot of companies, like going into it. Um, like when did you maybe cross the threshold of, it just being conversation and somebody being like, hey, I see you're holding a sign, and striking up a conversation about that, and then maybe you get an interview at that given company. Like when did the table start to turn in your favor?
It really started to turn when I started networking with people that do resume help, interview help. Uh, they really helped shape me into like a force to be reckoned with. Um, Whenever like these conversations, like people would reach out to me, it was all fun and games. But after like interview help and um, just getting that business end of like the resume and interviewing, like they really helped me turn a conversation into like an interview, and then like an interview to like an offer, and then negotiating an offer. So um, yeah, they were super, super helpful.
Amazing. So it sounds like even for the jobs that and the job processes that you went through, um, if you didn't get some of them, you were still kind of gaining something from it, and you were learning and you were growing and you were like picking up all these new things going through the process.
100%. Yeah, just a gem here, a gem here, a gem here. I have to give a shout out to Nikki Woodall. She's the founder of the just a great company where she offers like interview prep, resume help. Um, yeah, she was a blessing. Literally, she's a blessing. So she was amazing.
Love that. And try to put that somewhere in the notes after the show here. Um, that's fantastic. So then when you finally got to the point of like coming into your first role, have there been, any growing pains, for what you're comfortable speaking with? Um, and then also, as you kind of move forward from here, um, like, what does the future look like for you? What are your ambitions?
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be struggle.
Yeah.
There's always going to be, hard times. And I think in any job, there's stress, there's responsibility.
Mhm.
You have to represent the brand accordingly. You have to know the right things to say. You have to, be independent, but also reliant on your team. You have to work cross functionally. Like there's so much responsibility. It's
Mhm.
definitely not college anymore. Like this is the big leagues. So yeah, like people rely on you, and it's money. Like
Right.
like you now have a salary, so like you're expected to like do great things. Like oh, you have stock option now, so like you have to like lose sleep to change the world, and um, which is all fine with me. So like anybody watching, like don't just apply to a job or a company just for the money. Like do something you're passionate about. Like if you're applying to Nextdoor, the mobile app company like that connects neighbors, like apply to it because you want to connect your neighborhood, you want to connect people, you want to build community. Like be a part of a company that you're more passionate about. That way, it's easier to get up in the morning. It's easier to go to work because you're more mission driven, and um, yeah, that'll make the fight a little easier.
Do you have any other job search tips from your experience? And of course, beyond doing a personal marketing campaign outside of company headquarters,
Yeah, well, you.
which seems to be a very effective tactic.
Hey, I mean, if anybody else is doing it, definitely tag me in it. I definitely want to see it. Yeah, if you're on the sign outside of a company, kudos to you. It proves that you want to work at that company. Um, I would say be vulnerable. Social media is definitely a route. It's free promotion. Like, why would you not promote yourself? Like, I know being vulnerable isn't like probably not the coolest thing, probably not the most like the first go-to thing for people. I know like people are like, kind of closed off nowadays, but if you want to amplify your voice, social media is the way to go. If you're looking to get a job, or um, you definitely have to update your resume and your interview skills. And Nikki Woodall at the job salon, like uh, the job salon, like it's great. Like they'll look at your resume, they'll give you interview prep, they'll even connect you with folks. Like it's networking with people that are in that pool, and you won't feel like you're by yourself. Like the first gen college thing, like you're kind of by yourself, but just surrounding yourself with people that are looking for jobs, looking for to network and be better. Like uh, you definitely have to be around LinkedIn for sure. Um, don't be afraid to ask for help because uh, a closed mouth does not get fed. So,
Hell yeah.
you gotta speak up and um, just be yourself. Use hashtags, tell a good story, and um, yeah, just have fun.
Love that. Um, and also, you brought up this concept of being closed off as well. And I
Yeah.
feel like there was this massive period that we just kind of underwent and are still in for many people out there. Some people have like mentally moved past it, but it's still kind of going on, which
Yeah.
was the pandemic. And correct me if I'm wrong, did you go to school during the pandemic?
I went to school pre-pandemic, and then the shift to remote. Yeah, and I graduated. My last semester was like in person, but not really. So
Mm.
yeah, I went through the whole spiel, the whole shabam, the whole ordeal, the whole hurricane.
You feel like your experience interacting with people, going to school, job searching was different when you kind of had to do it remotely versus in person, and the kind of tactics that you use to achieve what you needed to do?
Oh man, we all have different experiences.
Mhm.
For me, I'm just really grateful that I had been creating relationships with folks before the pandemic. So during the pandemic, I would send tons of emails, reach out to them on LinkedIn, touch bases again to kind of rekindle that relationship, just to see what could happen, and it helped a lot. I do feel that the pandemic kind of hindered a lot of people, especially college students, because you couldn't really network with folks. You can really network with a whole lot of students like you would in person, and I do feel that the pandemic did kind of strip away a little bit of that like college life for me.
Mhm.
But you just gotta think outside the box and pivot. And you know, social media apps like GroupMe blew up, TikTok, Nextdoor blew up, like, and we just kind of ended up flocking there, and it helped us get through it emotionally, and um, yeah, it's just social media is a great place to be.
Absolutely is. And it seems like that was something that a lot of people used to move through the pandemic and how people kind of stayed connected. I remember this, yeah, pretty sure it's still going strong. It's an online platform called Lunch Club, and it's kind of like, maybe this isn't the best way to describe it. It's like chat roulette, but with professional connections. And it just connects
Oh,
you with random people.
I remember chat roulette. I think yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I know I'd use that a little bit during the pandemic because I'm like, I was going to a ton of networking events before everything jumped off. And then remote working, doing some traveling. It wasn't even physically, in the city at that time. And that worked really well to build connections that way. And to your point too, like you've built up a pretty considerable LinkedIn presence as well. And, that seems to be a great resource, for building that. And I feel like personally, that's something I had to get over too, is just, when first coming into my career, I feel like I registered for LinkedIn just when it came out, which is kind of dating me a bit after school, and just followed it from there. But the more it seems like you stick it out, um, like people don't really mind being connected with on LinkedIn, like as long as your approach is polite, as long as it's relevant, and in the little box that LinkedIn gives you to connect with people, it seems like you can fit a lot into that box when you're trying to make connections with people. Is that your experience too?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love LinkedIn. It's have some friends that work at LinkedIn, and um, yeah, it's been an amazing platform. So you can not just go there to apply to jobs, you can go there to learn, get certificates, um, network with folks, and that's actually where you and I met. So it's a great place to be, and definitely, I feel like a lot of people need to optimize their LinkedIn, and they're not using
Yes.
it to its full potential. Uh, yeah, like there's just so much we can cover with LinkedIn, and I just yeah, like I'm just grateful to be on it, and um, yeah, it's awesome that you were one of the first users.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe not one of the first, but you know, I was
Around,
around. We'll
yeah.
say that much. Um, and switching around subjects a little bit here as well. Um, what can we maybe do to prevent bias in the college admissions process, or also in the interview process? I know it's a loaded question.
Uh, oh man, okay. Interview was yeah. You know, I think people deserve a shot. I think a lot of recruiters use these application tracking systems, the ATSs, and I know it's hard for recruiters. I know it's impossibly difficult, but ATS systems, like, they're basically like little robots that remove your resume if it doesn't fit this certain criteria. But like I'm kick ass, like, and so are thousands of other applicants. Like you're missing this diamond in the rough
Right.
because of this robot, and that's even before the interview. And like like I don't want to speak for anybody, and I have done interviews when I had my own startup,
Mhm.
but somebody didn't have to check all the boxes for me. Like, as long as I could see that they're hungry, their personal values and mission aligns with the company values and missions, like,
Mhm.
that's great. Uh, can they do the job? Are they
Right.
willing to learn? Like, they don't have to be perfect people. That's why we're here. Like, the recruiters are here and the managers are here, is to elevate and grow those people, and create a, like, just, I don't know. I just think a lot of folks are just being, how do they say, brushed under the carpet or falling through the cracks.
Right.
And I know, like I said, it's very hard for recruiters, but I feel like, even, you just gotta give people a chance.
Absolutely. And that's true now more than ever. Um, and related to that, do you feel that nepotism towards family and friends is a problem within college and the career world?
Well, I mean, I love networking and I love the benefits of networking. And, I'm not gonna hate on anybody because they networked with the right person at the right time.
Right.
Like I love that stuff. Like, there's tons of movies based on that kind of thing, and that's like a really great entrepreneurial way to get ahead in life. Even for me, like, if it weren't for me busting my tail networking and networking with particular people that could help, like, I wouldn't be here today. And
Right.
um, you know, that one's a loaded question too.
Yep. I'm just
But
coming with the hot ones here.
I think it's okay. We live in a country where, like, it's all about, like, prove yourself. Like, didn't matter who you are, what you look like, and yeah, sometimes, like, people are fed with a silver spoon,
Right.
but like I said, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So, like, I didn't have a silver spoon, but I spoke up and started doing my own networking, and uh, like, just you just gotta have a vision, be ambitious, like you said, and um, just get ahead in life and make the world a better place.
I agree. I agree. And I can vouch for that too. Whereas it is a pretty frequent conversation that's coming up, this conversation around nepotism more recently. Maybe there's different aspects to it. And I feel like also that, I absolutely agree with you. It's like, would I be anywhere where I am right now if I had not invested the amount of time in networking that I did first getting out of college. Absolutely not. And there was so much of that that was in person. And, sometimes um, there is a convenience to being in New York, knowing that you're like a subway ride away from an event. And hats off to people who have to, drive to get there as well. So, there's a time investment involved, but I think it pays off in droves. And oftentimes those in-person connections become even stronger than ones you built digitally. And, it can go both ways, really. Like digital connections can grow into in-person connections.
Mhm.
But to your point, it's like you don't really know unless you try. And, whereas if you have I'd encourage young people out there, like if you have that free time in the evening, if you're just graduated, if you don't have anything going on a given weeknight, there's an event going on. It can be things even like Eventbrite, and sites like that, where you find these things. LinkedIn, there's all sorts of there's professional associations, and sometimes just attending that one random event, maybe it's not even related to your career field. You might meet somebody who sticks with you for a decade or
Yeah.
more. And I can think of some random networking events I've been to, and I've met people there that I'm still talking to today. And that was, 10, 15 years ago. So that's absolutely a testament. Um, Perfect. So I think that probably wraps up a lot of um, the exploration here around like how you've kind of gotten to where you are, and your story also of your journey getting to that point. And that's been really, really impressive. And especially, just working your way up that way, keeping the faith, and just striving. Like it seems like it's all really paid off for you, Adrian. I really appreciate you coming on to share your story. Um, and one last note maybe would be, where can people go to find out more about you? Maybe your LinkedIn profile, any other links you want to drop here, shout outs you want to make?
Yeah, I mean, definitely follow me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, like I don't hesitate to read them and respond. Like definitely LinkedIn. If you're young folk, get on LinkedIn. If you're a professional making career change, get on LinkedIn. I think the last thing I would say is just you know this world is a very difficult place to be in, especially now. It's very uncertain, but just pray and have faith and just doing those small things, like you'll build hope and you'll find purpose and you'll become a little more ambitious. And I was able to find that through God, and I really hope that everybody here watching just gives prayer a shot. I mean, the best that could happen is your life changes. The worst that can happen is you lose a minute of your day.
Right.
So uh, yeah, if I can do it, you can do it too. And all glory to God, because if it weren't for God and Jesus Christ, man, I wouldn't be here today. So that's my origin story.
Love it. Perfect. Well, Adrian Pinon, everybody, thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Take care.